It's week 7. There's a ton of bye weeks rolling in. The injuries don't stop, and you need to know who to pick up on your waiver wire on the offensive side this week. I got that for you coming right up. Welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind YouTube channel. My name is Bob Van. Welcome in if you're new, and if you are new, I do hope you consider subscribing. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like. Comment down below who your favorite waiver wire target is for week 7. And with all that said, we're going to hop right in. Now, I think the two biggest names that are going to be in the waiver wire conversation this week are going to be D'Ernest Johnson and Demetric Felton. Now, that is because Nick Chubb is unlikely to play and Kareem Hunt is expected to go on the IR very soon. And quite honestly, the Browns are kind of short some running backs. However, with Nick Chubb being out, we were kind of expecting these guys to get work behind Kareem Hunt. That just did not happen. And I'd be curious to think that maybe they go ahead and abandon the run game and they just kind of go with a passing game and kind of a weak run game here and there, just kind of alleviate Baker a little bit. But with Baker having that shoulder injury, they're going to want to kind of keep things off of him a little bit if they can, keep the heat off him as much as they can. However, I'm just not sure if they really trust either one of these backs and if you should either. Me personally, I'm probably going to side with Demetric Felton. I just think he's kind of a little bit more of an electric playmaker, has already been trusted a little bit in the passing game thus far this season. D'Ernest Johnson barely got any work leading up to this week's game. So I have a tough time trusting that situation at all. But if I'm going to pick one of them, I'm going to pick Demetric Felton. Another running back that just feels disgusting to talk about is Rashad Penny. And the reason I say this is this guy's had about every opportunity in the world, I would say, to make an impact, earn a starting role, and he just hasn't done it, hasn't been able to beat out Chris Carson, guys like DJ Dallas, guys like Travis Homer. He's just been overlooked by these guys, whether it's, you can argue that it's been injuries have been the main cause of it. It could be that it's talent. Now he's really only even relevant now because he's being activated off of IR and Alex Collins has been dealing with injuries as well. So it's going to come down to who to try to maybe roster between DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, and Rashad Penny in a Geno Smith-led offense. Personally, I'm probably going to side with DJ Dallas. He got the most work behind Alex Collins last week. But personally, I'm not targeting any of these guys unless I'm really, really struggling at running back. And this is coming from a guy who's starting J.D. McKissic and Nyheim Hines in a league. Next guy up is Donovan Peoples-Jones, the Cleveland Browns wide receiver. And we've been kind of waiting for him to have his breakout game ever since, with Jarvis Landry being on IR, Odell Beckham being kind of eased back into things. And it seems like we finally got our first taste of that, going over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns this past week, just having that real big breakout game we've been wanting to see from him. And personally, I've always felt that he's had the talent to do so, but he's just never put it together on the field. I mentioned him a couple weeks back in a video as well that, he just made 2 extremely beautiful catches that were like, this took talent to make that catch. The way I look at it is that, Odell Beckham isn't getting any younger. Same with Jarvis Landry. So that now might be the time to really buy in on Donovan Peoples-Jones if you still can. I'm not necessarily going to go out and trade for him, but if I can get him off the waiver wire for some cheap fab in a dynasty league like I've seen done already in leagues, I'm going to do it. Moving on to another wide receiver, and that is Quez Watkins of the Philadelphia Eagles. If you ask me, Quez Watkins is the number 2 wide receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I know with Jalen Reagor in the mix, he was a first-round pick last year. He's supposed to be this dude, but we really just haven't seen that. Aside from being the guy that Jalen Hurts throws deep downfield to get a defensive pass interference call on, he really hasn't done a heck of a lot for the team, nor your fantasy team. Quez Watkins has pulled in 18 catches for over 300 yards, while Jalen Reagor has only pulled in 17 for just over 100. Granted, Jalen Reagor has the touchdown. Quez Watkins doesn't have any of those yet. But when it comes to just the overall production of what Quez Watkins has done with his touches as opposed to what Reagor has done with his, for me, it's just one of those clear situations where it's like, hey, guys, Quez is the guy to roster here if you want the wide receiver 2 on that team. And I do think whenever that offense kind of gets its head around, it might not even be this year, but Quez is going to be a guy you definitely want to roster that Hurts seems to feel really comfortable with going to downfield as a reliable pass catcher. The last wide receiver we'll touch on here is going to be Jamal Agnew of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now this is kind of more for a deeper league. I wouldn't necessarily go and draft him in your 10-team redraft league or anything like that. But if you're in a dynasty league, it can be really tough to find good starting players or even decent starting players. Jamal Agnew has been worked more and more into the offense ever since DJ Chark got injured. And one of my favorite things about him is on Sleeper, for whatever reason, he's also defensive back eligible. So if you're in an IDP league and you're struggling at DB like I am in several leagues, you can also slot him into your lineup there. And on top of that, he also returns punts and kicks. So if your league rewards those kind of points, he can also help you out in that category. He is on bye this week, though, so he won't help you this week. Moving on to some tight ends, we need to talk about OJ Howard. Showed up on Thursday night, had a real big game. Probably going to be the most coveted tight end on the waiver wire this week, if I had a guess. Looking the best he's looked in an awful long time, coming back from that Achilles injury last year. And while he's really only getting a lot of looks because of the injuries to Gronk, I don't see Gronk coming back really anytime soon. So if you need a guy to slot into your tight end spot and you need help there, he could be a guy that could really help you. Tom Brady's loved looking at the tight end position this year. And if he can gain, kind of a stranglehold on the number one tight end position, that's absolutely a tight end you want your hands on. And the other tight end we'll talk about is Zach Ertz, now a Cardinals tight end. Max Williams, the original tight end on the Cardinals, went down with an injury last week. Thus, they went out and decided to trade for Zach Ertz, who's been on the trade block for God knows how long, probably since the start of last year. After having a pretty standout performance on Thursday night, conversely, oddly enough, with OJ Howard, the Cardinals decided it was time to go spring for the guy after seeing him perform well on Thursday night, sending a 5th-round pick in a decent corner. Nothing too crazy, but enough to get the job done. I've said it all year in these waiver videos. I've talked about AJ Green. I've talked about Christian Kirk. I've even talked about Rondale Moore. You want every single piece of this Cardinals offense that you can get your hands on right now. It's steaming hot, and players are being pretty productive every week. I have to say that, even Zach Ertz isn't what he was 3, 4, 5 years ago. He's definitely better than Max Williams. Now that he's gone to a much better offense and proven that he can still do it in a decent capacity, like I said already, definitely worth an ad if he's out there. That is it for the waiver wire video today. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you all enjoyed it. If you did enjoy, please leave a like. Check out the other videos on the channel. Make sure you're caught up on the other waiver wire videos, and make sure you check out the IDP waiver wire video that just came out today as well. I will see y'all Thursday for my IDP rankings, but until then, y'all have a good one.